So now that we've done some official work with sessions and forms, that is, we created a login form, it works really well, let's go ahead and start having some fun with it. So something I always wanted to do as a kid was create a text adventure game, which is kind of like a choose your own adventure, but from the command line. So I'm hoping that maybe some of you had the same dream, and in this next example, we're going to go ahead and build a text adventure game. And then we're going to go from there in order to make it more robust and flexible so that you can expand it and create your own world if you want to. So let's start by copying the code over and demoing it. This is in the third folder, which is called Forms and Sessions in the resource pack. And we're going to open up the 8th step, which is called Text Adventure Game. Go ahead and copy all the code and paste it over the code that's currently in your test.php file and save it. And then let's go ahead and go back to the browser and refresh our test.php file. If you have anything lingering in the URL here, you may want to remove that first and then just load it by pressing enter. So for many of us, our first exposure to a text adventure game started with a black screen with green text. So we're just adding some styling here to emulate that. But what we're looking at here is a form and then some output. So right now, the text says you're in a house, there's a door to the east and a window to the south. And then we have an inventory, and it says we have nothing in our inventory. So the basic conventions of a game like this is that we can go east, north, south, or west, and we can look around, and then we can interact with the objects in the scenery in various ways. So let's go ahead and test this by typing in south, and I'm going to hit enter. Now the text says, you are in a beautiful garden, smell the flowers, witness the ominous clouds. Okay, now let's try going back to where we were by going north. So I'm going to type in north and hit enter. Now it says you're in a house, there's a door to the east and a window to the south. So we're in the same place now. Another common thing you can do in text adventure games is type in look, which will give you some more information about the area where you are. So when I entered that in, it says, hey, there's a fishing pole on the ground. So let's go ahead and try to pick that up. So I'm going to type pick up fishing pole, and I'm going to hit enter. And it says, you pick up the fishing pole, how exciting. And our inventory says fishing pole. So now, so far, based on what you know about sessions, it looks like we could be storing a couple of variables in the session. One is the location where we're at, and the second is our inventory, which you'll see as we move around in this very small world, persists from one place to another. So now it said that we could go east, so let's go ahead and type in east. So I accidentally typed in east, and it says, sorry, you can't do that, and it repeats the text of where I'm at. So let's go ahead and type in east one more time. Okay, it says, you are in the yard. What a nice tree. Let's go ahead and try going south. So I'm going to type in south, and it says, you are next to a pond. It looks kind of green, or is that brown? Purple? So now we're at a pond, and we have a fishing pole. Maybe we can use the fishing pole. So let's go ahead and type use fishing pole, and I'm going to hit enter. It says, you use your fishing pole to get a fish. It looks a little scary, but maybe it will be useful for something later on. And it says, you pick up the fish. How exciting. And now our inventory has both a fishing pole and a fish in it. So one of the patterns you saw in the last video was creating an array of data and then imploding it using an end list item tag and a beginning list item tag. And you see that maybe happening here and here. And as we look through the code, you'll see that again. So there's a couple other things you can do with this text adventure game. Again, it's really simple right now, but let's go ahead and take a look at the code and see how this awesomeness works from the back end.